You are watching Liberty Online TV.
I deserve the best. Leave that X to the next. Hi guys, it's Boy here, aka Miss Kelly Talat. And Falona, all know say you suppose a need for check out Liberty TV Online on every platform if you want to forget the best form of entertainment in your life. So make sure you check them out.
What's good, guys? I'm Peter AA Komba. Watch, make we left for the greedy, and let we left for the greedy because awale when I'm going to check out Liberty Online TV on all social media platforms, and if you want to forget the best entertainment, watch out for them and always check them out.
Hey guys.
This is Liberty Online TV powered by Orange Sierra Leone. Orange.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Breakfast Show, where they come to you live now the Liberty Online Television. And we will bring this edition of the program to you, Mina Mebel Kaba.
And me, na Al Hassan Kuma. Good morning. Today is Monday, April 29, and inside this edition of the Breakfast Show, we look at CSOs and concern we're going to do with the suspended Auditor General's report, where they want to see government disclose to the public. And inside this edition of the program, we will look at President Bio in independent speech.
All right, well, as soon as I don't hear you from Al Hassan Kuruma, today inside this edition of the Breakfast Show, we can look at the call way civil society organization and they make to governments for ensure say they make the public know waiting they inside the reports where them pull for second the tribunal where them be set up for the suspended Auditor General Lara Taylor Pierce and a deputy. And also now this edition of the program, we all know say on Saturday the nation being celebrates 63rd anniversary after independence. And for sake of that, the president be address the nation, also inside address to the nation for sake of Salon 63rd anniversary after independence, it being acknowledged say the country they go through plenty challenge them, economic challenge them, we range from the price of food where they go up, blackout, fuel, and so many other things where the president been talk about inside in speech to the nation. And as the president and head of state, he been encourage people them for say in government they work hard for ensure so they address them challenge here as them they go. Well, let we talk briefly on waiting the president being make us an address to the nation for sake of the independence before we can look at the major issue for the day where that of the call where the civil society organizations they make for let the public know waiting inside the report to them pull for Lara Taylor Pierce. Well, firstly, let we just start with the issue we get for do with the presidency address to the nation. And don't forget to use for the watch the program. Can add your voice, ask question, make comments. Now the comment section at the different platform them. Also you they get with this morning or send message to the number 074 200 545 074 200 545. Drop your message or drop your comments now the comment section at the different platform them. Also on the watch with this morning. Remember say we have been powered by Orange Sierra Leone. We continue with the breakfast show and for talk about the president's in speech where he be make on Saturday as address to the nation for sake of the independence. We they go on the line. Also we get an economist, Django, where we go talk to for sake of this speech. Good morning and welcome to the breakfast show, Cyril.
Good morning, everybody.
All right, so like I don't tell the viewers them, on Saturday we been watch the address where the president makes to the nation for sake of Salon 63rd anniversary of independence. And everybody knows say, despite the fact that the president acknowledged say the country they go through economic challenge them, where they range from prices of food stuff them, petrol, fuel, and so many other things that the president been talked about for sake of this independence anniversary. But as an analyst, we read economics, and we all know the challenge and where the country to go through. Just start for describe for we first. What do you think about the speech where the presidents make in celebrating 63rd years of independence?
Thank you much, Mabel. From the president's statement, we find out, say, he was downbeat. The man His Excellency was not optimistic himself. He was admitting that Sierra Leone is facing with equal significant economic challenges. And he even noted the issues with the money. He called them as high food prices. So exactly which the high food price would affect we. Talk about elevated fuel costs. The fuel costs we all know they impact every sector of an economy. You talk of persistent energy shortages right now at the under blackout. So the president was downbeat. He been really they admit say he aware of the problems and we people they face in Sierra Leone, and that he been go to the part of assuring us by laying out specific policies the way you see governments they take now for address the economic challenges that we face across the board.
In fact, say the president acknowledge say the nation they go through economic challenge them. 63 years of independence, not to 63 days. We make so many people on this say the governments them where we don't get in power, being the APC and the SLPP since after independence to now don't be contributing factor to the way how the nation they currently. What thing you go say then to governments here we don't come in power after independence, the APC and the SLPP. What thing you go say they don't get wrong, we make the country day time like this 2024 we still get economic challenge where the results so high food price, fuel, and shortage of light.
Well, what did I get wrong from one perspective is this, that the dependence and over-reliance on donor partners. For every economic policy the governments, whether an APC or the current government's pool, they consistently rely on donor partners. But we know, see, in the international system, donor partners are not reliable. They could pledge a lot of money, but we can't fulfilling those money, it'll be a whole problem. So I think, say, we have a system where we are not pulling on our own resources. That even the APC and the SPP are keen on simply maintaining a status quo, which is that we should align our economic policies with donors. And donors are not gift givers. Donors are there to ensure they make maximum profit. For example, look at this, the energy sector. From 2010, the US government they say they sponsor, then they help, they invest on the energy. Every year up to 2024, we not even see the results yet of these investments. Rather, we see the money being spent on what they call feasibility studies. And so this dependence on foreign partners is a key problem. In fact, look at the president in speech where he talk. He say right now, for this fiscal year, then they expect some donor support will amount to $136 million for feed salon project. How much of that could be realistic money? We don't hear of this donor support for agriculture for a long time. And here we see in 2024, His Excellency is telling us that they are investing through their donor partners $136 million plus another $28 million from the same partners for what he call agricultural insurance policies. For me, the problem has been that we do too dependent on these partners, and they are not forthcoming. They're basically making a lot of promises with not fulfill. So we need to do inward checks. If the money is way we mobilize, because if you look at the president in speech, it tell you one significant thing. It say for this financial year, government don't increase the budget on agriculture from 2% to 7%. And that's not a significant increase. Now, it means that investing this cash on the ground needs supervision. It needs realistic approaches. It needs hands-on. I mean, the hope say this time around, like where the president not begin say he taking direct control of the energy sector, the energy ministry. He will take direct control of agriculture because this is an area where it is stressy. We have got money. So in other words, agriculture is not necessarily lacking money this financial year. Agriculture has $136 million from donor partners, which is to go towards rice production, cassava, cashew, and onion. That's from the president. Now, how would this be realistic? It will need a hands-on approach. It will need both the APC and the SPP joining hands together. Remember, mind you, even in the so-called developed world, the position is not there to sabotage government. They are as compliant as any other institution. Let's take the UK. Also, you know, the Labour Party, they call for strikes or they lead in any economic reform for make people express the mind. No, they're simply compliant. So we'd expect that we should reform this democracy such that when you say you are the opposition, it doesn't mean you should obstruct. It should mean you should cooperate with government and wait your turn for argue at elections that we are the better alternative. So that is my own perspective, and we hope say that with this time round, with this funding we don't available, this massive funding, we will see much more progress in agriculture and energy supply in the country.
The donor say Sierra Leone a donor-driven country. We are facing that's practical for every person so far we understand about economics. And also you talk about the fiscal policy where government's been introduced. How best this don't able for help? Government's introducing the fiscal policy over the past years. How this don't able for help for boost up the economy in Sierra Leone?
That question you really ask a tough question because right now NACSA they roll out a multi-million-dollar project that is basically targeting the youths on tree planting and waste collection. Who are these youths? Where are they spread? Because if you go across, you wonder who are exactly these young people. It's a fantastic project, fantastic deal for say we are now targeting young people to NACSA. But how realistic? How are they spending it? We know that remember in 2018, 2019, that $30 million for the Tumabum rice project. We see say there was a lot of enthusiasm, but when the money begin come out now, party faithfuls, people in a way you know even expect say get any hands for doing in agriculture actually are there and the money they lost and still we still importing rice. So their fiscal policy not they reflect on the people because the level of check on corruption is not sufficient. I mean, corruption is being fought if you are outside of government. If you are internal and in part of the government, you are outside of the remit of the deal for the chastise you on corruption. So I think say the fiscal policy not only reflects even this recent times. You see say government say they give loans to those who do agriculture, those doing rice and onion and whatever. Now, who are these people benefiting from it? Government can for ensure say they really and truly spread the benefits. Stop this partisan way of sharing the national cake. We can for ensure say we meet people away out the real targets. Not necessarily looking at the party faithfuls and party colors, but actually targeting those who are within the definition. So for that NACSA money, it's very laudable, it's very fantastic, but we need to see them targeting every region, every sector, regardless of your party influence or your party level. We need to see that. Now, talking about this so-called insurance on agriculture, we're worth up to $28 million. We need to see a fair distribution of that insurance policy for affects the people that were involved in it. So, I am saying that the fiscal policies are basically paper. When it comes to rolling them out, they are simply targeting those who are party faithful, those who are hounding government for positions, for resources. We know they work fine. So let us hope and pray that this time round, that the massive funding on agriculture, I mean, when the budget has been increased from 2 to 7%, when the donors have put in $136 million for this year only for so we get food sovereignty. In fact, the word food sovereignty, not the president's own term, it say by this year, Sierra Leone go achieve food sovereignty. Yes, we have the money now, and I believe, see, if we do it in a dispassionate, national way and target every region, I mean the western area, you go to the northern region, southern region, every one of them, and we'll faithfully execute them, I think will make a difference this year.
We all know say Salone economy depend largely on donor partners them, but because the donor partners them at times also can don't pledge for do certain things where governments can complain later say no can come on time. How as a nation Salone go manage the resources them where we get as a nation for able for boost the economy?
Maybe you ask, you make a very fantastic point, Shenda. Now we don't see. We should not rely on these promises. Everywhere in the world, if you watch, the Western donors are very quick to make outlandish promises to them. When it comes to releasing the funds, lots of stalemates, lots of backlog the day. And one example is the energy sector. 2010 in this country, under the NSMI government, that was when we don't hear about $128 million being set aside by the US government through the development body for revamp the entire electrification process in Sierra Leone. Up to this time, 2024, nothing has been achieved. That money has only been used for so-called studies, feasibility studies. Nothing realistic has been done. And in fact, just last week, they even increased the money to $228 million, thereabouts. So it is like you playing the people, playing the people because the government no get institutional memory. People in way, they say, but really and truly, how much have they disbursed since 2010? How much have been achieved? But it's like as if when they sack you or when you left the office, you do run away with the office in memory. Because if we have institutional memory, we would not realize the big promises. And yet, when it comes to disbursing those promises, there are either delays or outrightly, they come way. And sometimes, in most cases, will they attract debt, even when the money not carried now you earn. You pay what you then call commitment fee. Starting 3 months after they announce it, they don't give you the money. You begin for pay. So it's like frying us in fat. So it means that we get for actually use our own resources. We get for mobilize our own resources for ensure that we begin to achieve our own goals. Because it is never true that all the money that we did promise and the pledge, they come at the country. It's never true. Quote me on that. It's always the heat of the moments that, okay, let's demonstrate as Western partners that we're doing something. You make them big announcements, and when it comes to releasing the fund now, it becomes a big issue. But you cannot blame them. They are doing business. They will make a promise, and whilst they're hoping to fulfill the promise, the loan not being attract interest. So we need to mobilize our own. So I have the confidence, really and truly, because since many years ago, every government has always been aligning with these partners, both of these partners. But when it comes to the results, it's either delayed projects or abandoned project, because the money issue is a problem. So our fiscal policy has to be internally driven. We will stop having our fiscal policies hinged on external people for support. It never works in any country.
Let me look at the feed saloon projects where governments prioritize. As you earlier on mentioned about $136 million we the donors give to Sierra Leone so that we go able to solve the food situation in the country. But earlier on, you mentioned the president not being optimistic inside in speech we begin doing the Independence Day for solve some of them problems there. As an economist, we get vast experience. Waiting you go project with regards to solving the food crisis in the country.
Well, I will project say that not much would be expected from this, because I'll use the Tumabum project when I've been 2018, we've been rolled out with a lot of fanfare. And after that rollout, we find out say there was nothing out of it. Perhaps the money not being actually come in full. Perhaps we come the one way the roll out were basically party people them. We simply use the money for spend on their own issues them, not necessarily on agriculture, because if they actually use that first tranche of cash for go into full-scale agricultural activity, and they attack all the thresholds of having a resilient and a productive food sector. I believe say by this time we should be able to sufficiently have our own rice we really produce for UNICEF. Forget about exporting now. Believe if it was properly executed, faithfully done, without the people that will not get no business in that field having access to the funds, it will reach the real people, the real farmers, regardless of their party interests. I believe by this time we should have what we call rice and food sovereignty. But it not happened in 2018, 2019. It failed. So up to this point, this time we're still importing. So I have no faith in this. The only faith I have is when we begin to have a robust anti-corruption institution, one where they chase everybody, no matter who you are, for ensure say the money where they give you, the loan where they take, where they put on you earn for agriculture, it actually used for the purpose. But for now, it didn't happen. So my faith is very little. Next year again, it will be the same resilient approach. It will be the same donors and private sector coming together to help to have food sovereignty. It will not achieve nothing unless and until we have a powerful anti-corruption institution determined for ensure say any money when you receive, because again now the Bank of Sierra Leone, let me make you know, is giving out funds to farmers engaged in onion, rice, and something else production at 10% interest rate. And then they give to who? To commercial banks for administer them. Almost people will not benefit. Who are those people? Let us see a transparent process with this agricultural revolution. In other words, who are these applicants? Where are they from? Let's have a website where we see exactly who are the people who are benefiting from these cheap loans. Let us see exactly when they will fail for payback them. Let us see every day we see the presidency itself, not necessarily the president, but the presidency in the field there, checking on every project timelines. When we see those things, for now, as I speak, under this darkness, this blackouts, I have no confidence in the result. Unless we have a very strong ACC, anti-corruption commission, and have a very robust presidency, we're going to go out for check. I mean, sitting in the offices, not to solve the problem. It means, Sierra Leoneans, let me tell you, only fear one man, one office, and that's the presidency. And when it is determined for get results, as we don't see now in the Ministry of Power, we see say the presidency is saying, I am going to take full responsibility of this office. Perhaps we may see some progress because the presidency is actively being involved there in running the affairs of the key sectors of the economy.
This morning, Cyril Django, an economist, as he does short comments regarding the statements where the president will make, where they address the nation for Sierra Leone's 63rd anniversary. after independence. That's now been Siljengo Bidegiwi updates on waiting a think for the president and guest to the nation for the independence. Well, it's still a Watch Breakfast show where they come to you live na Liberty Online Television, and members of UNICEF where they watch the program can send you a message to the number 074 200 545 or drop your comments at the comment section on the different platform them. Also, you watch with this morning. And we tell you earlier today at the studio, the topic of the day gets for do with the call where civil society organizations and they make for disclosure of waiting the tribunal where government be set up for look inside the issue we get for do with Lara Telopias and one of in deputy them where them be suspended inside November 2021, and inside that suspension they then be sent because of professional misconduct and some other thing them will be come up. Well, government may set up the tribunal late November 2021 for investigate this issue. From that same day to now, the latest developments we can talk about inside this program as we get at the studio this morning. Abubakar Kamara, we are the National Coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network BAN, we don't the advocates for financial transparency and accountability for the country, and particularly people we go get effective service delivery from money them where governments can get. Well, now a pleasure for getting at the studio this morning, Mr. Kamara.
Good morning, and I want to say, despite all the challenges, happy independence to all Sierra Leoneans.
All right, like I don't tell the viewers, the media this morning, we can't talk about the call where BAN and other civil society organizations then they make for ensure say people know waiting the inside the reports where the tribunal don't fin put together after we they may do this investigation since November 2021 to now. Everybody know how many years it don't take from that same day to now. But let we just know it don't take small, you know, kind of the studio waiting on the happen a ban before we can talk about the reports where on want for the government disclose. Waiting on the happen a ban.
Well, not only happened. We don't do a lot of work around local accountability. For example, we got a project work on base when IGR the lead, BAN 50/50, CAL, and other organizations them. We only work around that now for support, own source revenue generation and accountability on how they use them. And so as I talk today, a group of 60 data collectors them they go on at the field for support Western World District Council for bringing 35,000 new properties there into the cadastral system, and of course the old outcome for that now for their own source revenue increase, and of course the aspect of how they utilize them and the transparent accountability. So we work towards that particular aspect, supporting them to generate resources and ensure that you utilize and it's transparent and accountable manner. Of course, we also work around issues of how do we empower women. You know, we get the GWA about economic empowerment for women, and we now they take one step ahead to have a look at how do we ensure that we use procurement. So currently they do work around how do we ensure that women benefit from the procurement of this country. And of course, we know close to 50% of the government budget go towards procurement. So we also work around that. But we never generate the evidence through support from Irish Shade in terms of looking at the legal aspect, looking at the past activities, and looking at the barriers them why women actually need to participate in public procurement. So we also do our work there. With the hopes at the end of then 3 weeks shot, then they will come up with a very convincing policies where we will present to government for take actions in terms of ensuring. So we also work around national domestic revenue issues then. Of course, we also work around the open budget surveys. I just want to announce it by the 29th of May, we will launch the open budget survey reports. When I survey the conduct now 120 countries them, Salona part of them. So we also work, and that's where they look at 3 things: transparency, accountability, and participation on how government they utilize people's resources. With all of this, we also work around the issue of how do we ensure that women, disabled, vulnerable partners participate into the budget process. Of course, there are 2 Irish Ireland to support from Christian Aid. So we work a whole number of issues around transparency and accountability. And one important one way, Sir Jung just mentioned around public debt. You know, the government, they try for review the Public Debt Management Act. And what we don't do now, we draft some of the, draft some suggestions then. We will help enhance transparency and accountability on how government they manage a public debt. Hopefully, by the end of this this month, we go make and publish in terms of some of the things they wanted and go inside that actually, so that the aspects of managing debt will become more transparent and more accountable. So the work on that again with support from the National Endowment, the NDI, with support from NDI. The reason why that is important, of course, a whole lot of issues around public debt, they go on. Of course, we know we now they at a high debt risk country, and with all of this, we also the aspect of carrying the people along is very much important. And one way for carrying people along, now for ensure say the whole process of procuring debt, managing it, become very more transparent and accountable. So we would go for another project with the draft legislation. We would present to government, say these are the things we feel say if we incorporate it will enhance transparency and accountability. We go build trust between government and the people. And of course, the subsequent impact is that when there is a trust, there will be peace, and of course, it also contributes to revenue generations. So still the work on Dande, and then we would hope say quite shortly we'll make them public. We will bring in media, other people, and for that also make their own contribution in terms of how they want to let the law they for ensure say actually there is transparency and accountability, and there are some aspects of participation in the acquiring and management of public debt.
Like I told viewers earlier, you there this morning for can support the Callway Civil Society Organization and make. We all know say that inside November 2021, Lara Taylor Pearson, one of in deputy then Momo, being gone suspension, and from that time to now, official statements not come out from the tribunal for showing a this and fair not after when they don't put them people here on suspension and all of that. So we make civil society organization and they demand now for let people know waiting the inside the findings, the reports where this tribunal pull na do. But let we just know for other than the civil society we ban the work with for make this call.
And for this press release will be released on the 3rd of April. We will get banned. And when I say ban, comprised of 7 institutions there. We get Christian Aid, we get Action Aid, we get NMGD, we get CGG, Transparency International, we get Wabin, we get Talking Drum Studio, we get Action Aid. Then we get Slash, also, a part of the one way we all come together for this press release. We will get 50-50. We will also join the press release looking at it from the women perspective. Then we get the Institute for Legal Research, Advocacy and Justice. We then look at advocacy and justice from legal perspective. So now 4 come together, we publish this press release. But even before that, since the very first day we then suspend Auditor General, this institution also will come up with a press release condemning the action where the office of the president make and calling for a whole lot of demand. Of course, all of the demand there will be request for will not be adhered to by government. But for now, all that don't pass. The tribunal process don't go through. We again, I mean, probably it will be very good for listeners to also understand how we reach this stage in terms of we up to now will not get we will not see the judgment yet with the tribunal don't complete. Firstly, they suspend Lara and one of the deputy Tamamomo in November 2021. And when they suspend them, they form a tribunal. Because one of the charges will be first come openly, they say professional misconduct. And from November, the tribunal not sit until after 4 months. And of course, when they sit 4 months, the first 3 sittings there absolutely nothing happened. And the same way the state bring the charges against Lava and one of the deputy, we are talking about May. So we are talking about close to 6 months after when they suspend them for professional misconduct. Again, they begin to see the aspect of what is really happening. You say you suspend a particular leader for professional misconduct, and we believe say before they suspend them, if we don't generate the evidence enough, and they not bring the charges then up to after 6 months. And of course, there are a whole lot of delays in the whole process of the tribunal. Delay. Now we don't go up to over 2 years now. We are talking about close to 29 months now since they suspend them. All of this don't go through. The case, then close the case on the 22nd of December 2023. If you count that time to now, we are talking about 4 months since they don't close the case. And 4 months now, we will not get no communication from the tribunal. We will not see a judgment up to now. So we are concerned. Now that make them 4 institutions to come together and let the public know, and let even the tribunal know, say, we are concerned that up to now, the judgment not kite.
Before these 4 institutions they come together for make these press release out to the public, what are some of the steps they don't take before this time, engaging the tribunals or any other institution regarding this particular matter?
You know, me go draw it back the steps in way we take before even they suspend the Auditor General. If citizens can recall back, there are some time in 2020 to early 2021 where there were a whole lot of media bashing of the Auditor General. A whole lot of media bashing being going. So at that time, a group of civil society that will come together. We say that we engage the relevant institutions. Then we engage the Minister of Finance. By then, the leadership now be JJ Safa, now be the minister. We engage the Auditor General. We engage Parliament. We also engage on the development partner. Then we developed a position paper on the roadmap in terms of how we feel this thing for be addressed. Unfortunately, there was some disagreement among we civil society, and we I feel say it also contributes to let this thing escalate to this point with this, because if we all for one day together at that particular point in time, possibly we will not for this stage of issue. So we will do that pre-engagement day. Of course, months after that, now we see they suspend the Auditor General and one of the deputy Tamamomo. So we will do that steps today before even they suspend the Auditor General. Of course, once the president the officer of the president also suspend Lara, they form a tribunal. We on call at that particular point in time was that it is a very bad precedent for this country, and it's still a very bad precedent. And it go a long way for being a very bad precedent in terms of the decision way the officer of the president make for suspend Mlat, Taylor Pierce, and one of the deputy because of the work way to do. Because the whole thing surround around the work way to do. And the constitution clear in terms of where it didn't work, enough to be subjected or directed by anybody whatsoever. So it's a bad decision. So we'll be called for His Excellency the President to really reverse that particular decision there because of a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't see the good job way under the leadership of the suspended Auditor General don't do. And we don't see how audit accountability don't really they go compared to previous 15, 20 years back. Police report on time. So with all the good work the way the office will be done to do, and we feel say at a point in time when the government, one of the things they campaign for, now accountability and transparency, and more so financial accountability. So we expect them for hold the highest esteem in terms of protecting accountability, more so financial accountability. So we be condemn that action day. We call for that. We request His Excellency the President for reverse that decision day. Obviously, if the President for reverse and be the best interest for the people of Sierra Leone. But nevertheless, those requests were not looked into. The tribunal then set up. Of course, once they set the tribunal on, we will not get much for do, except what they do now. We will follow the process in terms of how it will go through, and we just say we follow the process right through the whole process itself. Where we notice a number of delays. For example, the first 3 sittings, the other four sitting, they not be even ready yet. Stationary, other things they not be available. The other sitting and go back absolutely nothing. So we hold after that now for observe the process, and we continue to observe the process up to now. And since the tribunal done, we would expect say they for don't really release the judgment. And probably I may also want to touch on this issue. The states will bring up to 10 issues then. But of course, now one issues then take forward na court where they say they like try for bring some evidence. And that issue they go for deal with, the whole case now where we wait for the judgment, get for deal with that the Auditor General not for contact a third party without the express permission of a client. And client in this case, na State House. And it began for deal with confirming the authenticity of receipts. So the case now where they bring when it's like professional misconduct is that the Auditor General now for don't contact them or tell them for confirm the receipt where Office of the President presents for audit without getting the express permission of the Office of the President. So now this case now will wait, let the court can tell me whether the Auditor General get the right for contact third party without the express permission or not.
So in terms of financial accountability, like you said, don't say, initially when the release been come out, say the Auditor General and one of the deputy they go on suspension. Banner be one organization where been come out say not to the right direction, it go send bad signal for financial accountability in a salon, nationally and internationally. But the decision was hold. In terms of financial accountability, the reasons then behind the suspension, like you just don't explain, contacting a third party without informing the client when at the government of Sierra Leone. In this case, waiting a mean for financial accountability, sending the Auditor General on suspension on that basis.
You know, it gets a lot of impact from the women perspective, from the audits accountability perspective, and even the aspect of setting a very bad precedent. What this mean is that where the government is pushing to fight corruption, we see ACC they make some strides. And if the government they say we want to fight corruption, one of the institutions they're waiting for really protect is the audit service. I wouldn't see a number of cases then where ACC they take forward where they come out from the audit reports. And it also means that it will create some fear on next Auditor General that if you do A, B, and C, you will likely be taken from your job. Which means it hinder the whole audit accountability landscape in the country. Because audit institutions then for be an independent institution them who for do their work without instruction or interference of anybody whatsoever. Even the way they act say, when the president wants for let them audit something, now request audit service for let do. So that don't say even the constitution protect the office. But if we don't see now something like this, we are worried. And that make we wait for let the court can tell we whether that decision they for let them contact third party or not, is right or is not right. The other point we have is now, I mean, the leadership of the audit service, because currently Nana is substantive or the general and just that it was suspension a woman. It also limit women then. It will create fear on women then. I mean, when they talk about promoting women economically for them to take higher position, if the few women who get in that particular system, they we see a whole lot of things that go on. It creates a whole lot of fear on women for pursue positions of very important nature of dandy. You also get a whole impact on women attaining higher political or administrative positions. Then.
But Mr. Kamara, critics go tell you say the gender card not go be effective now. Yeah, not mean say because somebody in gender, if them hold them accountable of something enough for go on an investigation.
Okay, again, the issue of investigation. Now we also understand how this whole thing come about, the suspension of Auditor General. I mean, we not be surprised that they suspend the Auditor General because we see on the camp a group of civil society them who try to intervene. Unfortunately, among UNICEF, there was a disagreement on voting for the position paper. We're very sad for we, and we see the suspension, how it come about, and we don't see some of the allegations the way government bring on board. So it's not just around accountability. Yes, we want everybody for be held accountability, but in this we have to also understand the context. Now that make the general and the one of the deputy, they subjected themselves to the accountability process where government sets. We get a whole lot of delays in all of this process, a whole lot of challenges then. Now, and we, of course, we won't be ruled by then, after just observe. We'll not do anything. And waiting they push for now, so back, now also an accountability issue. A tribunal was set, They use state resources for financial tribunal. Now, over 4 months now, the tribunal don't conclude. We will not see a judgment up to now. And therefore, would also try for hold the tribunal accountable that they have the responsibility because state resources they use for finance them for come up to we and really present to we the judgment in the case of this one.
You think say there is something fishy or something secret with regards to the decision of the office of the president for suspend the Auditor General, because from early statement you make it very clear say that decision where the president will take was questionable for suspend the Auditor General.
We always say this. Now, a decision will condemn, and we will always condemn that decision there. And the question is around suspicion. We need to work on suspicion issues. We need to work on the things then we know about, we will get evidence about, we will get facts about. And in this case now, we no want to make any statements for say whether Lara guilty and deputy guilty or not guilty. Now that make we humbly request the tribunal, or they don't set, we don't conclude the hearings in this 22nd of December 2023 for them come up to for them bring the report to the public and let we know whether the decision was right or not right.
So in terms of making this call, what's the difference where the reports will go for Brinkam? Because as far as the state is concerned, somebody is acting in that capacity and they don't pull reports. What's the difference disclosing the reports to Brinkam?
No, these are two different things. We get audit as an institution. They will get the audits, we will get a leadership. With the leadership, they on suspension. Let me tell you, this digital government take also affect government and the people's trust on the office. Even though the office they do good things, but there are just total trust issues. People will say, for example, we'll see the previous audits where based on audit service, they don't meet the threshold for the report on office of the president. Because of what happened, there's a trust issue. People they say, afraid because they don't suspend the players and all that. So it also gets an impact on trust. The other issue again, these are also about leadership and processes and accountability of them processes and they. And how do we ensure say them process they also is subject to scrutiny by the people that we are responsible. So it's also about setting a bad precedent. Because if we can't get a precedent now wherein the office of the president, because of one reason or another, they suspend the Auditor General, if that precedent they continue, it go very bad. It will now mean say the office of the president now will get hold of the audit service, because it will put the leadership on its toes. That if you do A, B, and C, where you know them in favor, I'll find a way for you where you go by suspending or come up with heavy charges. So it's a very bad precedent. And this was not just Saloon. Now, one of the most internationally condemned issues that we happen in Saloon. We see a whole lot of institutions in Pool Pressfully, the Entosai, one of the institutions we're responsible for manage the overall, like the UN body, where they manage the whole audit process, continuously come with the press statements around these issues. We see the African aspect of them. So it's not just about Sierra Leone. In fact, this issue also sent a very bad image about Sierra Leone in terms of how we handle audit accountability in the country.
All right, if you just stay tuned in, you watch the Liberty Breakfast Show. And at this edition of the Breakfast Show today, we deal with the National Coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network, BAN, when Abubakar Kamara, as they talk on behalf of other civil society organizations, them, where they call for the tribunal report from the Auditor General in suspension, Lara Telopias and one of the deputy, for the reports go be disclosed, let them go know waiting at the decision where this tribunal has to make for SECA the suspension and investigation we them been doing at the trial. In case you get any comments for me or any question for us, send on to the number 074-200-545 or drop your comments in the comment section. We come back to Abubakar Kamara, we are the National Coordinator for BAN, as we continue to look at this issue. Since November to now, una surprised say go for take this long time, 2021, now we are in 2024. Still they talk about reports we get for do with just 2 people where government set up tribunal for?
For we will not really expect to say this issue will take that long because we are just talking about one issue. Yeah. And that issue there, as I stated earlier, that whether Auditor General get rights for contact the hotels them for verify a receipt without the express permission of Office of the President, one of the client in this case. So for we, based on the will not be feasible for take that long. And even the judgments self we don't call for let them publish, will not be feasible for don't take over 4 months now. It's almost 4 months, like 6 days now, where they don't conclude this judgment here. So it's a concern for we as institution will come together when Ilawaj and Sludge ban with 50-50. And now that make we humbly request the tribunal for let them really tell the people of Sierra Leone what are the findings from this case here. So, or what's the let them come up with a statement and tell you why up to now 4 months this decision, the judgment not be really delivered it. And the reason why this is so important, of course, justice delay getting your overall impact. And mind you, now a very senior official they don't send on a suspension so for almost now 29 months. We also look at the fairness in this particular process in terms of this very senior somebody don't serve the country diligently. It's a been set up. The case don't end. Over 4 months now, no decision, no judgments have been delivered. It's a concern. And I could call the one who is responsible there. Let the people of Sierra Leone know what's in the findings, what are the findings, or what are the judgment on this particular issue. Also,
When I hopeful say these particular findings go get anything different, we go bring value for accountability and transparency in terms of auditing.
now for we now comments on whether, because the question they link to whether Lava they win or the state they win. Which at this particular point in time, would you request them that the people of Sierra Leone want to know what are the judgment on this particular issue so they don't spend years, for conduct.
An individual versus the state on short matters, where they happen. You think you see anything from the tribunal for me they make it very public to the entire people of Sierra Leone? Because 4 months to now, I think it's a very long time.
Of course, the judgments and our public documents then, and then go for make them public. In fact, even the hearings, now be public hearings. Only the first 1, 2, 3 are challenging, but now public hearings where everybody be get the right for go sit down and listen. And we as an institution, we follow the process right through in terms of everything we happen. We even document a whole lot of things that will happen. We're not reliable, just follow the process. So that make at this particular point in time, we not say Lava they win or the state they win. We just the call on the tribunal. More especially the leadership of the tribunal, that the people of Sierra Leone, they wait for the judgment in the case of Lara Tilopias and Deputy Tata Mamumo.
Would they foresee them going back in them position in there?
Well, the Auditor General, now is still substantive, now suspend of us. And when they suspend you, if they investigate you, if they find you wanting, now in the first place, for let them sack, the process what they use for sack a judge, the High Court judge, and the same process they use for sack the Auditor General. So even if they find Lava wanting, that no go mean say Lava they losing job. They go back in the parliament until they get almost 2/3 majority in the parliament. Now that thing now they will say Lava for off in position. So for now, we know going to the details. The real concern is the tribunal don't be concluded since the 22nd of December 2023. It's over 4 months now, like 4 months, 6 days now. They want to see the judgment. The people of Sierra Leone want to see the judgment. Mind you, this is a case when a public interest case. Citizens then get interest on a whole lot of on this particular issue. So therefore, the quick, fair, and transparent way of dealing the judgment will really help the country, will really help all this accountability, will really help the people of Sierra Leone.
Like you've been saying right from the start, una be not make and clear say there was no need for send Lara Telopias and one of a deputy on suspension. Right from the start, ban bidon the made a call say the office of the president for the reverse that decision, but we suicide on lead and now they call for the reports for be public so the ruling way the tribunal being make in December. But how ban and then civil society organization had to make this call where right from the start una no say it not be legitimate? Why una so interested in waiting go come out there?
Firstly, we still stand by the position when we condemn the act, and the president still get the power as of now for reverse the suspension, and we stand by that position. We condemn this act and we continue for condemn him. But despite that, we also believe in accountability processes. The government sets up a tribunal, we go with a whole lot of challenges. They don't go through the whole lot of hearings. The states don't come, Lara and Deputy Tamamomo don't come. The case don't done. Why me don't done? They don't conclude the case on December. I will not say 4 months now, the hearings, 4 months after that, we will not see judgment is. So for we, it's not about leaving our initial position. We still stand by our initial position because we feel sit down at the best interest for the people of the country and for the country. But a process has been set up. We don't follow the process right through. The tribunal don't concluded, and we don't now 4 months now, or 4 months, 6 days now, we not get no report yet. And I concern to ban / 50/50 and the Institute of Legal Research, Advocacy and Justice. Of course, when there is a delay in delivering justice, it gets a whole ramification in terms of accountability at the judiciary level, in terms of even trust for the judiciary. So the judiciary in itself get a role for play for ensure say this judgment be delivered to the people of Sierra Leone. They will know whether the Auditor General right or not right for contact a third party when at the hotel for confirmed a hotel visit without informing the office of the president, where they can call the clients.
All right, Abubakar Kamara, coordinator for BAN, continue for the with me at the studio. You still watch the Liberty Breakfast Show where they come to you live na Liberty Online Television, and members you say for the watch can ask you question, make you comment to the issues that we discuss inside this edition of the Breakfast Show. 074-200-545. Now the number for send you message to or drop you comments na the comment section.
All right, continue for watch the Liberty Breakfast Show. We will take you now quickly to another item inside the program this morning. As the Director of Food Security and Climate Smart Agriculture, now the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Patrick Kumawa, don't say the meeting we then get with stakeholders them now FAO now for see how they go improve on food security in the country. Dr. Patrick talk this way, then make a report for SECA, FAO, UNICEF, and WFP, where they show over 55 million people in now Western and Central Africa for gets challenge on food for themselves. Well, Mohamed Kamara, the reporter gets more and go down report.
This BNTM, one report come out from FAO, UNICEF, and WFP, say nearly 55 million people them, now West and Central Africa, get for struggle for feed themselves inside 2024. And among the country them, Salone they among the country them where this report make mention of. And this then say, now because of economic challenge them, like currency devaluation, low production, trade barriers, and other food crisis them, we don't they affect ordinary people them, na country them like Sierra Leone, Ghana and Mali, where was affected. For sake of this alarm, where they inside this report, make the Presidential Initiative on Climate Change, Renewable Energy and Food Security, bring expert them and government official them from the Ministry of Agriculture for discuss with them how to manage the situation. Dr. Patrick M. Komawa, now the Director of Food Security and Climate Smart Agricultural Transformation, been get this for say.
Why make we there today? We there for two reasons. The number one reason is that we just don't get report on the 12th of April, where the UN agencies, especially the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, the World Food Program, and UNICEF, where them alarms say, based on the data that we then collect, that this country will be plunged into acute food insecurity within 6 months, if the government in partner they not do something. And since we're not the arm of government, we're responsible for troubleshooting. We can on the nutrition side. Now make we call them today. First, make them present to we, waiting at the underlying basis of the recommendation where they make. Number two, make the stakeholders, we now government people, the private sector, the NGOs, the experts, make them look at the data we then present. We lead them for talk say the country will lead into food crisis. And number three, for find together make hang head and see waiting we go do, make it not happen, waiting then talk about, make it not happen. So now make we there today, we'll bring them, allege them with them at the food system for make them talk about that.
It continue for talk about the recommendation where them put together inside this workshop.
Number one recommendation where they say, since more than 1 million people will be affected based on the result, they say more all come together and put a program already. We'll go to then we paddy then the donor organizations and see how they go work with government and support government for make sure say the food insecurity where they talk about it not happen. So that's number one. Okay. Number two, where then we say is that we for promote the consumption of local healthy foods. Then chop then where a balance and then put them together so we'll not go eat rest no more, but sometimes some vegetables, proteins, they're all they together we balance so that the more time where they eat it will be healthy. The third group where that report talk about is in picking them. Okay. Because when they picking they not get good food, some then they become stunted. Stunted means say then go be so short for their age. And when that happen, we then do the calculations and they go, no, say this pikin is stunted. And the effect of stunting, it get a long-term effect, not only on the pikin, but on the economic development of this country.
One of the experts them, where they help government for find ways, how for improve on agriculture, they get this for say.
We have come here to do, to Sierra Leone, is to work with Sierra Leone and two other countries, Malawi and Ethiopia, to help all three find better ways of producing sustainable, healthy diets. And we're very keen to build on the work that is happening in Sierra Leone around agriculture, particularly the Feed Salone programme and also the Presidential Climate Initiative, because we think there is a real potential here to build on that programme, be able to support more healthy diets for people and to be able to address in that way some of the food security problems within Sierra.
But waiting a government commitment for Sierra Salone food secure.
We as a ministry actually they look at long-term plans, and that make we don't get this strategy when I feed salon. We go put things in place. We cover the key crops, then we cover key aspects. Then we go make sure say we first of all able feed ourselves. That's the primary aim really, particularly with staple food rice. And here they talk about nutrition and all that. You know, nutritious foods them. I mean, like with vegetables them, onions, self the hype and the agenda for feed salon. Of course, rest not the first one, and then
the discussion then be continue for see how governments they work with expert them for help improve agriculture for see say the country food secure. For Liberty Online TV, Mohamed Kamara, the report.
All right, welcome back. It's still a watch breakfast show on Liberty Online Television, and this morning at the breakfast show, they look at the call where civil society organizations and they make for the tribunal judgment be open as government be investigate Lara Taylor Pierce and one of in deputy them for SECA issues we been get for do with one audit where them been do na State House, where them be ask some hotel them for SECA proof them where them be want, where them be they do audits that year day. Well, we get at the studio with Abubakar Kamara, winner the National Coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network Ban, as now one of the civil society organizations where since the suspension of the Auditor General them don't make calls say the decision for be reversed, but government not be reversed the decision, and up till now they still make call now say they want for let the public know waiting the inside the ruling way the tribunal be make. Now before we can look at other issue we get for do with finances again, as Salone done 63 years after independence. Quickly, this delay where on all on the call for say for disclose waiting the tribunal not. If this kind delay continue, waiting are the implications them we get to financial accountability and transparency?
You know, audits now the institution where they check how public officials, then ministry, department, agency, they utilize the people's their resources. We means to get a very huge role for play in managing the country resources in terms of ensuring that there is accountability, in terms of ensuring that they follow the laws them, we the guide the manager of financial resources. And they, as part of the mandate, they audit all government institutions then. So if we get issues in terms of the leadership, in terms of suspending the leadership where they doing job, it gets implication, now a very bad precedent. And one implication we get is they reduce the confidence of citizens in terms of the work way that they do. And it also gets implication in terms of international image as a country. And we see when they suspend the Auditor General, even the development partners they were also concerned. And we don't see a number of strides where they don't make for strengthening audit accountability. Say they suspend the Lara Taylor Pierce and more. So you get impact on the international image. You also get impact, as I mentioned earlier, on women empowerment for women to take up positions in higher leadership places like Dande. I mean, if the few women who get the getting kind of challenges they are, so it serves as a barrier or motivation for more women to show up and push for letting get more position. But overall, they bring the people's resources at stake, because when there is loss of trust between the citizens and the report quality service they produce, even though they also continue to do the same work, there's a concern. And one of the things we government always uphold is that trust between government and the citizens. Once we have that trust, a number of things can be managed in a difficult situation like this.
This not call now for let government reinstate them back?
Well, government not sack them.
Then they on suspension.
Then they on suspension
on
allegation of professional misconduct. So if you suspend me for professional misconduct, and there is an hearings, and the hearings, say for example, if the flower win, I mean they get right for go work, they get right for resign. Of course, the aspect for resigning, then are their own personal decision. But government no sack them and suspend them, and they don't set up a tribunal way. Don't pass 4 months now. We're able to see a judgment, and I make we call. Well, I say we, not just ban, but 50-50 slash, and the Institute for Legal Research, Advocacy and Justice, they push for ensure say they are want see this judgment, because a public interest case and citizens concerned because they want to know the outcome of this particular issue.
Professional misconduct is a broad term. You know, we we viewers probably when they watch the show this morning, no, we will understand that particular time. Being in an office and say you don't commit a crime against for do with professional misconduct. How you go for break that down for your viewers this morning?
I think so we understanding that you not follow the leader rules then. You go against the leader rules and regulation how you for handle the office. And if you look at the charge where they really bring forward and can discuss now the tribunal, let's say the Auditor General and Deputy not begin rights for contact a hotel for let them confirm the receipt. The Office of the President represents doing audit without contacting the client. The client in this case, the Office of the President. Now that's now the professional misconduct. We then bring that tribunal where they don't discuss that. It do things outside the law we're not supposed to do. And now that they don't bring to the tribunal don't look into it now, and we wait for the judgment for know whether the Auditor General begin rights for contact the hotel, for letting confirm the resident there without contacting the State House, or a not get rights.
We don't say Salona a democratic state, and inside democracy we look at accountability and transparency. But you know, if you say for audit the office of the president is a very tough job for any individual.
Well, the Constitution clear. Audit service get the right for audit. Any institution would receive money from the consolidated fund, or all institutions them would operate on the interest of the people of Sierra Leone. For example, if EU give money to council them, audit service get right for monitor that project the way EU give money for councils them. So even the Audit Service Act make it clear, they don't get barrier in terms of because an office of the president, they're not for audit. I would not say over the years, they don't the audit office of the president. So not like a novel, like a new thing that it's now the audit office of the president. No. And it's about accountability. Of course, when we talk about democracy, we will not get proper accountability. Democracy needs to strive. And of course, the level of accountability of a state now also they determine the level of development we want to go into. You see, for example, we get a cottage we want picking die because of lack of electricity. If the issue they continue, nobody not be held accountable for their action in it. It means we need to go, we need to move to a high standard of living. So accountability is key in governance, especially in democracy, and it's also key in development. When we accountability system weak, development is strive in that particular aspect. Because people will do something, nobody hold them accountable. And at the end, who will suffer are the ordinary man and ordinary woman there. So accountability is key. So just as it's key in service delivery, now it's also key in the financial aspect. And in fact, the financial aspect is extremely key because now people the resources, people they handle. And if that resources there is no way for them to account for them, or the process or systems or the structure they set up get problem for all the accountable, it's a huge challenge for development. It's a huge challenge for the people of Sierra Leone. It means the people's resources will go unchecked properly.
If you ask some other person and go tell you say this is business as usual, when they investigate, you guys say reports come out 2-3 weeks because the noise, we're not going to know the content, we forget about them and take up other issue. But on this particular one, waiting on a fear.
You know, this is now a precedent. At the first, they don't happen at alone. When they suspend Auditor General, where they do work at the first time for professional misconduct. And it's fact, we don't see a number of commissions them and tribunals them where they set up on certain issues them. At the end, some don't even see reports. Some reports they come out, they find things like it's so weak that it better may not do nothing. But looking at the stake where this institution gets, and mind you, waiting would they do so is not for loud or more. It's it's for the states, it's for the people of Sierra Leone, for ensure say there is accountability in these processes and that office is being protected. We try for ensure say the issues are so let it not repeat again, although we don't get bad precedents. We try for ensure say women are protected when they in office of high responsibility like this one also. Of course, and that means say if a woman then in a government position or a high position, they do bad things, they don't fall accountable. No. In these circumstances, we all know what happened. And for we, at this particular point in time, we want to let the tribunal really come out with a judgment on this particular issue. Let the people of Sierra Leone know whether the Auditor General a right or a no right.
With the stripes that don't they make, for the past 4 months, the tribunal has been done with this particular matter. And now release out the press release, we will get reputable institutions, including CSOs and that of SLAG, we come together for make the press release out to the public. If no report not come out, what will be on the next step?
Well, we're not going to expect, say, government go down, set up a tribunal like this. Don't use the people resources for finance the operation of the tribunal, and at the end they don't come up with a report. I'm sure they will come up with a report, but we're also concerned about the delay. 4 months now, just one issue, and the issue is whether the Auditor General be get right for contact or tell them for them to confirm the receipt where the officer of the president presents during audit without the express permission of the officer of the president. That's the one issue they're looking to. And it take almost 2 years, and now the tribunal done 4 months now, 6 days, will not see reported. Now that make we ban SLAG 50-50 and the Institute of Governance, Institute of Legal Research, Advocacy and Justice, they really humbly call the tribunal that the people, this is a public interest case, and the people of Sierra Leone are really interested for noting at the judgment on this particular issue.
All right, Abubakar Kamara, let me just look at message and way people on send so far since the breakfast show starts at 8 o'clock this morning. The very first one they look at now the YouTube International Observer say big up to Mr. Django, one of the voices of conscience that deserves far higher attention than it's given by the media. He talks business and enterprise, but you guys always bring on civil society. Well, that's now for we first guess who we been get on the line when I see Django.
All right, I'll take this one from a Facebook page. It comes from Mohamed Alaji Koma. They say this guy is saying the facts. Donor partners always making promise in just in paper.
All right, more messages we look at. This other one say we need more media houses to give airtime to experts to explain details of our economy.
I'll take the next one from a Facebook page. It comes from Isa Koma. It's like a family house. Nobody care to repair until it starts breaking down.
We look at more messages and more. I don't send at the Liberty Breakfast Show this morning. Seen at the Facebook page. This other one where they come out from Fode Mustafa Toure. They say no country can develop without a national development plan. South Korea, Singapore and China that have made it recently all have a national development strategy and not political party plan. The 2023 midterm development plan has passed and there is no drinking water. Then it go further for say they have formulated another until 2030 and I am 100% sure nothing will happen.
The next one will come up from Mahmoud Fofana. He say this administration is deceitful when in opposition this was the same Auditor General they were singing, and now in power they are against her because of accountability issues. So sad.
The final one we go take Mohamed Alhaji Fofana say, in my opinion, I believe in the next election come 2028, we must restart the country by voting out both the SLPP and the APC, by electing a new government and a youthful president with clear vision.
The last one I will take from the Facebook page, they come from Issa Koma. It say, in 63 years, we have never been aware of the machine colonial master after or just repairing it.
All right, well, from that message and they will come to the studio guests. Like I've been saying earlier, 63 years after independence, plenty of people believe say by now Salono for the they grumble for lights, we defend water, we defend access to basic service delivery them, where people believe so for them be thing of the past after independence. As somebody who don't monitor closely issues we get to do with financial accountability, how past and present regime they're not able to manage the resources of Salone for ensure they get effective service delivery?
Yeah, it's an old thesis, a old PhD thesis question, because when you talk about manage government resources, it can be looked at from various angles. For example, one from the angle from revenue generation, how past and present don't really ensure say there is an increase in revenue generation. At the same time, there are systems, processes, we are transparent and accountable in terms of revenue generation. And it can also be looked at in the aspect of budgetary allocations, and also the aspect of budget credibility, looking at the past and the present governments and to what extent they don't really fulfill them promises around the budget. For example, if government go past the budget and parliament say they generate they spend 2 billion, to what extent they don't meet that particular target day. It can also be looked at from the perspective of public debt management, to what extent they don't manage the debt and ensure say there is transparency and accountability, and the process for procuring those debt and utilization is in a very transparent manner. This one is a very broad issues, and we really need to, I can say, almost 2 or 3 weeks for really go deep dive into each of them. So bringing out data with really just try, because for us as an institution, we not just like for talk because we get a platform for talk, but we are an evidence-based institution where we like for talk with the evidence and fact and speak to the issues and look at the issues, and also based on the issues profile alternative issues. Then it can also be looked at from the perspective of the macroeconomic policies, looking at inflation, how inflation don't happen in the past and how it don't happen now, what are the factors that would affect inflation. Looking at, for example, how GDP day, what now we per capita income, how per capita income day, how we per capita spending day. So it can be looked at in all of those issues. So to me, for now, we're not going to comment broadly on that. We will be happy for engage on specific economic issues. Then looking at 63 years, where we are from, what are the challenges, what need to be done, then what need to be changed for ensure say it really is fair and they really benefit on the small resources so they generate out of the country as well.
Like you say, time not going to forget all that discussion there now, but moving forward, after 63 years of independence, let me just take revenue generation, for example. If you forget a discussion with the authorities and where they're in charge, somebody will then look closely on financial accountabilities and all of that, what you go advise the need for be done for let we increase with revenue generation as a nation?
I think over the past 6-7 years, we don't see some strive be taken by NRA in terms of building up systems and structure where go help for enhance revenue generation. We don't see they don't go into technology now. Now they get the ITAS, electronic cash machine. All these are systems for just ensure say revenue increase. Even though there are challenges, we again we as citizens also get a role for play. For example, if you look at the GST receipts, where they're supposed to give businesses them, we don't observe say number of businesses in a degree GST receipts, and we as citizens get the right to report. We also don't see the past finance acts and don't have for bring laws them for really enforce revenue collection. For example, if you as citizens you go buy or you go observe say a particular shop not give GST receipt, if you report and the financing a fact, you get certain amount of money. So from the policy wise, we don't see a whole lot of policies being developed by government on the revenue perspective. We see quite recently then develop the medium-term revenue strategy. When a strategy where they guide government say for the next 5 years, this is what I want to do in terms of generating revenue, in terms of ensuring that the atmosphere for business creating atmosphere for business, he actually did. So there are a whole lot of policies reform we don't go, a whole lot of legal reform we don't go on all of these issues. But of course, the ultimate aim of all of these reforms now for increased revenue. So enforcement get a big role, citizens get a big role for playing all of this well, so by supporting the institution responsible for generating revenue, and of course, government go for ensure say then build the trust between citizens and government in terms of how they utilize resources. Because if people they pay tax, and in one hand, and on the other hand, the institution was supposed to manage those resources, then they manage them well, and the institution where it's for all them accountable, get some problem, get some issues. It will make there no trust between government and citizens, and when that trust is not there, it also affects revenue generation. But overall, we don't see revenue on the increase or upward from a nominal perspective, and even though that revenue is not enough for manage with states, because there are still a whole lot of loopholes that the government need for address in terms of revenue. As I mentioned earlier, the GST is one. Government able collected the rental, much on rental tax. When also a huge potential for generate a revenue. Than what the rent was. I mean, when you rent, you're supposed to pay certain amount of resources to the state. So that system also would need to be addressed. Of course, there are also issues of the GST machine there, and there are some problems around the world. So there are a whole lot of issues we need to be addressed. But the policy-wise, we don't see some changes in infrastructure, bringing IT where they reduce that, contacting with individual. That's try then they go on, but they still need to do more for ensure they generate. Because one of the reasons why government they go take debt now with resources not do for finance the budget. So government not go alternative but for go take debt. But of course that is a whole issue again we need to be looked into in terms of the process. What are the process for acquire debt, how transparent it is, how accountable it is, and I want to give government the kudos because then we don't realize say the current Public Debt Management Act need for the review so that it will help for strengthening all of the transparency and accountability measures. So, and we as an institution as BAN will get to participate effectively for ensure say we come up with suggestions on the table on how to enhance transparency and accountability on how they acquire and utilize public debt. One of the people's resources, by the way.
On don't they play a key role with regards to advocating for the people of Sierra Leone, like on the in between for put government on their toes and also for see that the right thing be done advocating for the people now continue thing on not only do not ban and other civil society organizations them. So which time where you feel like see waiting you don't advocate for government able for solve that, although it can take time for the government look into some of the issues then they.
The work they do. Not the work they done. That he don't do, I don't succeed, I not succeed. Now continuous issue with the work they do. Because every day government they generate resources. We concern on how they generate them, we concern on how they utilize them. Every year, Auditor General the policy report, we concern on the outcome of the reports, how Parliament they handle the reports. So now continuous process. But to be fair enough, we get instances then wherein, as I mentioned earlier, we are an advocacy institution, we believe on evidence based. We get instances where we don't generate the evidence, we don't engage. Even though it might take long, but we don't see government act on that. For example, we get the tax exemption. We will now get the policy, and now the itself will get a tax exemption law. We do a study around 2013. We find out for just 4 multinational companies there, we lose by then $224 million annually. And that amount by then, like 7 times the health budget plus 8 times the education budget. And one of the reasons why that be happening because of the opaqueness, the non-transparent of how they grant mining concessions them to various mining institutions them, the unfairness of how they regulate the law. For example, the law don't say when I pay 6%, with a particular company because of the bargaining power, you can bargain and pay like 2% or 1%. So do that study, they will find out say we need to get a policy in the law. We don't see. Over the years, past 5 years, action has now been taken about a particular one. Yes, so yes, we get instances where indeed the state they listen, though they take a very long time for acts, but they need to listen. So that alone they give some amount of confidence that there are challenges along the line, but we have institutions, them government institutions, we're really ready for listening to credible evidence them who will help for support their work. Mind you, all the work we do, and for also complement government efforts in another way, for ensure say the people will receive services from the resources where the state they provide.
All right, so to wrap up this edition of the Breakfast Show, what's going to be your message to authorities and the way responsible for ensure say the way the tribunal make recommendation them on whether or recommendation or not, they make disclose them to the public. What's going to be message to them?
No, we are message now to the tribunal committee, more specifically the chairperson for the committee, that we are concerned that it's over 4 months now. We now see judgment and we kind of act on the behalf of the people of Sierra Leone that we really want to see the judgment of that particular case day as soon as possible, because it's an accountability issue. It's also a justice issue. We want for ensure say each and every individual will be involved there get a fair judgment, and the one who will get the authority for tell you say Auditor General rights or the state rights. Now the tribunal committee will don't conclude then investigation since the 22nd of December 2023. So we wait and we kindly request that it's a public interest case, and therefore the public need to be informed on waiting they go on, and more especially on when they go issue out the statement on when they deliver the judgment. I mean, the whole process stand almost since the tenants suspend last the person and more. We are talking about close to 29 months now.
All right. Many thanks to Ikan at the studio this morning. A name na Abubakar Kamara, the National Coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network BAN. They also they talk on behalf of other civil society organizations where they call on the tribunal for make sure say they make public disclosure of waiting and fair notes from the tribunal where they be set up for Lara Taylor Pierce and one of her deputy Samba Momo where they on suspension. Well, in this edition of the Breakfast Show, Golefuna, plenty thank you to you. We don't watch me throughout this edition of the program. Thank you for we don't continue for share and like Liberty Online Television. Continue for tell more people about we as we continue for giving a factual and balanced information always. Mina Mebel Kabadi say get a blissful week and goodbye.
Mina Al Hassan Kumari say get yourself a wonderful day.